Well, welcome back. We've got another story for you, and this time it's from Agnieszka Kasporitz-Kluska, who's 38, and she's from Poland. And this is the story for May 9, for Sabbath on May 9. It's called Gobbly-Gobbling Turkeys. Little Agnieszka grew up in beautiful countryside in southern Poland. A big green forest stood on one side of her house, a green meadow with pretty white daisies and pink and purple wildflowers stretched out on the other side of the house. Agnieszka loved nature. Well, most of it. She didn't like the dark. Strangers were scary. Her family had cats, dogs and chickens, but she was frightened of them. She was especially scared of mooing cows. You know cows that moo? Moo. She didn't like them. And gobbly-gobbling turkeys. Fortunately, no cows or turkeys lived at her house. But a flock of turkeys lived in the yard of a farmhouse that she passed every day on the way to school. Agnieszka loved school, and she loved the 20-minute walk to school. She followed a road for 10 minutes from her house to the village. Then she walked 10 minutes from the village to the schoolhouse. One morning, Agnieszka skipped along the road to the village and turned the corner to the school. A few steps later, she saw something that filled her with horror. She stopped. Dozens of gobbly-gobbling turkeys were wandering on the road. The birds were enormous and they made a loud, scary racket. Agnieszka looked to one side of the road, a rushing stream. She couldn't walk there. She looked to the other side. More gobbly-gobbling turkeys were walking in a ditch and strolling in the adjacent meadow. She couldn't walk there. She looked beyond the meadow. The gate to the farmhouse fence was open and the yard was empty. The turkeys had escaped from the farmhouse yard. Agnieszka was trapped. She couldn't go to school because the gobbly-gobbling turkeys. She couldn't go home because then she would be late for school. She sat down on the road to hide from the turkeys. God, help me, she prayed. Opening her eyes, she saw an elderly man riding a bicycle toward her. The man wore dark grey clothes and a dark grey cap. His bicycle was dark grey. He was coming from the direction of the school. Fearlessly entering the flock of gobbly-gobbling turkeys, he energetically waved his arms and shouted, "Shoo! Shoo!" The gobbly-gobbling turkeys gobbled even more and made a frantic dash toward their yard. Feathers flew and the screech of the gobbly-gobbling was deafening. Agnieszka was surprised that the stranger wasn't scared of the turkeys. She had never seen him before, but she wasn't afraid. He looked sort of familiar. As the old man rode past Agnieszka, he said kindly, "It's all right now." Agnieszka's mouth dropped open in amazement. She looked at the turkeys, gobbly-gobbling into their yard at home. She looked back at the road to wave at the old man. He had disappeared. Agnieszka happily ran to school. She wasn't even late. The turkeys never invaded the road again. Agnieszka has always remembered God's answer to her frightened prayer. Now the mother of 2 children, she tells them how the stranger scared away the turkeys. "I don't know whether he was an ordinary man or an angel," she said, but I know the victory came from God. I was able to survive the turkeys with God's help. Thank you for your 13th Sabbath offering 3 years ago that helped Hope Channel open a television studio in Poland. Now here's a little fact at the end of the story. Marie Curie was born in Warsaw, Poland on November 7, 1867. With her husband, she discovered the elements of polonium, named after her native Poland, in the summer of 1898, and soon thereafter radium. She is credited for coining the term radioactivity and won her first Nobel Prize in Physics in 1903. That's Marie Curie, and there's a little artist's impression of her there. So I hope you enjoyed this story of the Gobbly-Gobbling Turkeys from Agnieszka in Poland, and we'll see you next week in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.